Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, verse 10. Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janaballabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janaballabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janaballabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janaballabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Paribrajakachaja Stotarasata Sri Srimadhaisi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Mathura Dham Ki Jai Navadip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, verse 10. Brahmani hadaya karmani Shangatyaktva karotiya Lipyate na sapapena Padma patram ivam bhasa Brahmani adaya karmani Shangam tyaktva karotiya Lipyate na sapapena Padma patram ivam bhasa Brahmanyadhyaya karmani Sangam tyaktva karotiya Lipyate na sapapena Padmapatram ivam vasa Brahmani adhaya karmani Shangam tyaktva karotiya Lipyate na sapapena Padmapatram ivam vasa. Brahmani, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Excuse me. Brahmani, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Adhaya, resigning unto. Karmani, all works. Sangam, attachment. Tyaktva, giving up. Karoti, performs. Ya, who. Lepyate, is effective. Na, never. Sa, he. Papena, by sin. Padmapatram, lotus leaf. Eva, like. Amvasa, in the water. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme God, is not affected by such action, is not affected by sinful action, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. Purport. Here, Brahmani means Krishna consciousness. The material world is a sum total manifestation of the three modes of material nature, technically called the pradhana. The Vedic hymns, Sarvam etat Brahma, Tasmad etat Brahma, Nama Rupam, Annam Chajayate, and in the Bhagavad Gita, Mama Yonir Mahat Brahma, indicated everything in the material world is the manifestation of Brahman. And although the effects are different, manifested, they are non-different from the cause. In the Ishopanishad, it is said that everything is related to the Supreme Brahman or Krishna, and thus everything belongs to him only. One who knows perfectly well that everything belongs to Krishna, that he is the proprietor of everything, and that therefore everything is engaged in the service of the Lord, naturally has nothing to do with the results of his activities, whether virtuous or sinful. Even one's material body being a gift of the Lord for carrying out a particular type of action can be engaged in Krishna consciousness. It is beyond contamination by sinful reactions, exactly as the lotus leaf, though remaining in the water, is not wet. The Lord also says in the Gita, Mai sarvam karmani sannyas, resign all works unto me, Krishna. The conclusion is that a person without Krishna consciousness acts according to the concept of material body and senses, but a person in Krishna consciousness acts according to the knowledge that the body is the property of Krishna and should therefore be engaged in the service of Krishna. Brahmani hadaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti ya lipyate nasapapena padma patram ivam bhasa. This is very nice. The last line in this verse, very interesting. Padma patram eva, just like the Padma patram, or the leaf of the lotus, amhasa, is not wet even though it is in the water. The lotus leaf is impermeable. It is water resistant. water cannot be soaked into the leaf. So even though the leaf of the lotus flower is lying in the water, it remains untouched by the water. So in the same way, those who understand their relationship with God and act according to His wishes and His desires, they become untouched by the results of their action. Just like if a soldier is conscripted and he is sent to fight in the war, and in the war he kills so many enemy soldiers, he is not affected negatively by those killings. Whereas if he comes home and out of anger he shoots his neighbor, then he is charged with murder and he is hanged. He cannot say, how is it that when I was in the war I killed so many people and I got commendation for that. I wasn't punished for that. In fact, I got a medal for that. Now I'm at home and I only killed one man and you want to send me to the gallows. Because in the first instance, it was authorized by the state to go to the war and kill. In the second instance, it took the activity of killing on his own self, and therefore he is himself responsible, whereas in the first place, the government was responsible. So in the same way, when we take Krishna as our guide, and when we act exactly according to His instructions and desires, we do not become affected by the material energy. One great Vaishnava poet, his name is Govinda Das Kaviraj, he wrote a very beautiful song called Bhaja un Remana. And in this song, one line goes, Kamala Jala Dala Jivana Tala Mala Bhaja un Haripada Nitire. That Kamala Jala Dala, that the drop of water on the lotus leaf, Jivana Tala Mala, it is exactly like our present life. It is like a drop of water on the lotus leaf. The drop of water cannot enter into the leaf. It remains on the leaf, and as soon as the leaf makes a slight movement, the drop goes off into the water. In the same way, our life, Govinda Das Kaviraj says, our life is just like the drop of water. At any moment, it is over. And therefore he says, E dhana jovana, this wealth, dhana, jovana, youth, putra, parijana, children, family, ithe ki ache paratitire. Where is the joy in this? Why? There is no joy in youth, there is no joy in wealth, there is no joy in family and children. Of course there is joy. But he's pointing out that this joy, it is like the drop of water on the lotus leaf. So, a very beautiful song. This Govinda Das, he was a younger brother of Ramachandra Kaviraj, who was an intimate associate of Narottam Das. Narottam Das sings, Daya Koro Sri Acharya Prabhu Srinivas Ramachandra Sangamage Narottam Das. That Narottam Das is glorifying his spiritual master Srinivas, and is always wishing for the association of Ramachandra. It's a great blessing when Krishna sends you the association of devotees. One of Srila Prabhupada's, in my humble opinion, one of Srila Prabhupada's most significant achievements was to establish an international association where we could associate with like-minded devotees, where we could get sadhu sangha. In fact, the greatest disaster in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness is that this sadhu sangha is lacking. That many, many God brothers, many, many devotees don't feel welcomed into the association of their previous home. But actually, Prabhupada, as it is said, built a house in which the whole world can reside. And that is his legacy. You want to please Prabhupada? You create that atmosphere. If you cannot create it internationally, create it in your own home. Anyone who comes into your house is your guest. He comes there by Krishna's arrangement. Treat him like a brother. Treat him with love and affection. He will never go away. We never left the lotus feet of Prabhupada because he showed tremendous compassion to us. No matter what, he was there for us. He was our father. The father never stops loving the child. The child may get into trouble. He may leave home. He may become a criminal. But the father will never abandon him. As soon as the child is ready to accept the shelter and gifts from his father, the father is ready to accept him. Therefore, in the Christian tradition, there is a very beautiful parable of the prodigal son. That the father, he had two sons. One son was very obedient to his father, always ready to carry out his father's orders, staying at home. The other son was rebellious. He wouldn't accept his father's instructions. He left his home. He became degraded. He became a bum in the street. And for a long time, he remained in this bad condition until somebody found him and said, listen, you don't have to lie down on the sidewalk in the street alone. You have a very nice father, very powerful father. Come, I'll take you back to him. So he took him back to his father. And when his father, even from a distance, saw that his lost son was coming back, he became so happy. He created a whole feast, and he made everything very beautiful just to welcome his son. And the other son, he became a little upset with the father. He said, my dear father, I've been faithful to you. I followed your instructions. I never left your home. I've been your good son. This brother of mine, look what a rascal he is. He left. Now he's coming back and you're making such a show. So there is a lesson there. And the lesson is that the father is more disturbed, is more eager to have back that lost son. Just like the shepherd, he may have many sheep, but if one sheep gets lost, he will go after that sheep, because knowing that the rest of the sheep are safe. So in the same way, Krishna takes great trouble to liberate, to educate, and to convince the living entities to take shelter of him. And this Krishnadas, this Govindadas Kaviraj wrote this beautiful song. And this song was so nice that somebody sent one of his songs to Vrindavan, to Jiva Goswami. At that time, a few years after the Lord Chaitanya's disappearance, Jiva Goswami became the Acharya of the Gaudiya Sampradaya, of our line in the disciplic succession. So when he read the song by Govindadas, he was so happy. He said, oh, this is such a beautiful song. Please write more of these songs and send them to me to Vrindavan. It's a great blessing that Govindadas Kaviraj received. And the song is Bhaja Unre Mana. My dear mind, please worship Nanda Nandana, worship Krishna. Why? Why should we worship Krishna? Because Abhaya Charanara Vrindare. Because by worshipping the lotus feet of Krishna, we become free from fear. Abhaya means to become free from fear. This Abhaya Charan also happens to be Srila Prabhupada's name. As a child he was called Abhaya Charan, or one who is taken shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna and has thus become free from fear. And when he became initiated, Bhaktisiddhanta gave him the name Abhaya Charanara Vinda. Charanara is lotus feet, and Vinda means, Charanara means the feet which are as beautiful as a lotus flower. So Govindadas is advising us he's talking to his mind. The whole thing goes around the mind, because the mind is the beginning and the end of all our activities. The mind accepts and rejects. If the mind accepts that we are not this body, that we are spirit soul, then our spiritual life has a good foundation. It begins there. There is no question of spiritual life if your mind isn't under control. If your mind doesn't control the senses, then your understanding of being a spirit soul is just academic. It's not practical. It is only gyan. We want vigyan. We want to apply that knowledge. And to apply that knowledge means to control the senses. When the senses are under control, we actually act as a spirit soul, and our understanding of being spirit souls becomes very, very strong. And when the mind wants to be happy, when the mind wants to be free from fear, then the poet says, take shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. Durlabha manava janama satsange. He continues the song by saying that the manava janma, the birth as a human being. Manava means a human being. Manu. The word man in English comes from the word manu. Manu means one who is in charge of the human being. So manava means a human. Manava janma means the birth as a human being. Durlabha manava janma. It is very difficult to get the birth as a human being. In fact, if you look around you, there is billions and billions of living entities just on this planet. What to speak of this planet? In the city. What to speak of the city? In this body, within your body, there is millions and millions of living entities in cellular form and in macro form, in micro form. All kinds of germs are there. Millions within you. You and me, we happen to be the predominant living entity in this body. Therefore, it is my body. But in my body, there is many, many other living entities. And what to speak of this planet? There are unlimited planets. What to speak of planets? There are unlimited universes. They are coming and going as regularly as clockwork. And in all of this creation, the human beings are in a minority. Therefore, durlabha manusya janma, very difficult to get a human birth. Janama satsange. And why is the human life so important? Satsange, because you can associate with devotees, associate with the truth. Korohe bhava sindure. And the result of that association, you can cross over the ocean of material life. You can become free. Otherwise, Sita atapa bata barishana edina jamini jagire. Sita in winter, atapa in summer, bata in the wind, barishana in the rain, dina jamini day and night, jagire, I remain awake. Bipale sevinu kripana durjana chapala sukalaba lagire. And I am busy working for someone who doesn't appreciate my work, is a kripana, one who is a miser. This is the whole material world, the whole society in which we live, especially now. It is controlled by people with enormous financial resources, and we are getting just a little bit, just enough to survive. Most people get up early in the morning by force. They rush to work, long distance away. They work all day. They come home exhausted. They flop down on the sofa and go to sleep. Why? To make money for somebody else. And that somebody else pays them a pittance, nothing. Not only that, he expects you to be grateful to him for exploiting you. So, Sita atapa bata barishana edina jamini jagire. Vipale sevinu, so you're serving somebody for vipal, for very little fruit. Kripana durjana, Chapala Sukha Labha Lagire. And the result is you get a little bit of happiness. What is that happiness? Oh, it's the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. I can relax. I can sleep until noon. I can watch the football game. So, what is the solution? According to Govinda Das, the solution is Shravana Kirtana Smarana Vandana Pada Sevana Jagire Pujana Sakijana Atmani Vedana Govinda Dasa Abhilasare. That is the desire of Govinda Das. He is preaching to his mind. The Madhya mind, hear about Krishna. Chant about Krishna. Remember Krishna. Offer prayers to Krishna. Offer puja, worship to Krishna. Become Krishna's friend. Become Krishna's servant. Serve Krishna's lotus feet. Give up everything for Krishna. This is called Nana Vida Bhakti, or the 9 different paths of devotional service. So Shravana means to hear. And the perfection of hearing was Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj was the emperor 5,000 years ago of this planet. 5,000 years ago, according to the Vedic literature, there was many kingdoms on this planet, and the many kings, and the emperor was in India, in Delhi. They controlled the rest of the planet. We have no history beyond 2,000-3,000 years. We don't believe that there was civilization before that. But if you study the Vedas, they tell of civilization going back millions and millions of years. And personally, if you study even the preliminary text of the Vedic literature, like the Bhagavad Gita, it speaks only of the truth. The Bhagavad Gita has been glorified for 5,000 years on this planet as the essence of truth. So if the Gita is right, why not the rest of the Vedas? Everything is right. So 5,000 years ago, there was an emperor. He was cursed to die within 7 days. Therefore, he retired from his empire. He sat on the banks of the Ganges, and many of his followers came to see what this emperor will do in the last 7 days of his life. And the question he asked was, now that I'm about to die, what is my duty? What should I hear and what should I speak about? And because since birth, this emperor, Parikshit was his name, since birth he was a devotee of Krishna, Krishna sent him one of his most intimate representatives to instruct him at the moment of death. And that person was Sukadeva Goswami. And Sukadeva Goswami became perfect by speaking the Srimad Bhagavatam, one of the great Puranas, one of the great works of literature, which Srila Prabhupada translated and commented upon. There is so much knowledge. There is 12 cantos, 18,000 verses. I've been studying these books for 50 years, and I haven't even scratched the surface. And I'm a book person. I didn't grow up with TV. I didn't grow up with movies or comics. I grew up with books. My native language is Italian. I learned English by reading books. I would read books every week. I would have a permanent arrangement at the public library to take as many books home as I would like. And I have not come across anything like Srimad Bhagavatam. As I said, even after 50 years of reading it, I haven't even scratched the surface. So this was spoken by Sukadeva Goswami. By speaking this Bhagavatam, he became perfect. And Parikshit, by hearing the Bhagavatam, he became perfect. So Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, by remembering. That was Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj was the son of the great demon, Hiranyakashipu, who persecuted him because he was a devotee. But he never stopped remembering Krishna. Pada Sevanam, serving the lotus feet. That is Lakshmi. Lakshmi became perfect by serving the lotus feet of Krishna. Vandanam, offering prayers. That was done by Akrura. Akrura was Krishna's uncle. He offered many prayers to Krishna when they were leaving Vrindavan and they were taking bath in the Jamuna. And later on, when Krishna and Balaram came to visit him in his home in Mathura, he also offered very, very beautiful prayers. So he became perfect by offering beautiful prayers. And Archanam, serving Krishna in a temple, that perfection was achieved by Prithu Maharaj, one of the empowered incarnation of Krishna, who appeared also many millions of years ago. Shakyam, friendship with Krishna, was Arjuna. Arjuna is Krishna's friend. In fact, in the Bhagavad Gita, at the end of the Gita, Yatra Yogeshvara Krishna, Yatra Partha, wherever there is Krishna, wherever there is Partha, Arjuna. So he became perfect by becoming Krishna's friend. And becoming Krishna's servant is Hanuman, the perfect servant of Lord Ramachandra. There is many, many, thousands and thousands of temples of Hanuman in India. And surrendering everything, Atmani Vedanam, that perfection was achieved by Bali Maharaj. That's another long story. Thank you very much. We have some comments. Atmavidya Prabhu. 47 grad, 47 degrees. He has come and joined us. Hare Krishna, humble obeisances to the assembled devotees. Mandi Priyor, Hare Krishna, good evening. So much to learn from the lotus flower being scrutinized by our great acharyas. Exactly. Mandi, thank you very, very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu, for joining me. Again, I apologize for missing giving the classes the last 2 weeks, but I wasn't exactly very sick. It was more of a mental problem, but I enjoy giving class, and I'm very, very grateful for you for listening. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next Wednesday.